Hello everyone, welcome to Jackie Does Stuff. I'm Jackie and I do stuff. And today I'm doing a couple of things. I'm making breakfast. I'm not sure how much of this I can record one-handed, but I'm going to attempt to make home fries and sourdough biscuits. Check it out. Alright, so what we got here is, these are 3 Yukon Gold potatoes, and these are my first ever potato harvest. I actually got 6 potatoes out of it, but for this I decided that I wanted to take the ones that were cracked or had something on them that made me feel like maybe they wouldn't keep for very long. So I'm going to use these first, but I'm so excited. I almost didn't put this video together because of how hard it's going to be to film one-handed, but I was so excited about sharing my first harvest. I'm going to use an onion that I just bought from the store, some oil, a spice blend, which here I'm just using this rosemary garlic salt that my partner got me for Christmas, which I haven't even opened, I don't think. I have a lot of salt blends. This right here is lemon and pepper from McCormick. I'm not super thrilled with this because it's got all sorts of like dyes and stuff. My other partner's allergic to yellow dye, so I would probably want to get rid of this sooner rather than later. But you can kind of see like it doesn't get used very much. So I'm thinking maybe if I use it now, that's how it is. The more you use it, the more it goes away. And then this is some smoked paprika that I'm going to put in there. There's already salt and pepper in here, but I'm probably also going to use just some regular table salt and cracked pepper in there as well. And then this is some butter that I made yesterday from some heavy cream because I wanted the buttermilk out of it because I wanted to make some buttermilk pancakes, but that's gonna have to wait. Yeah, so the first thing that I'm gonna do for these home fries is I'm just gonna cut these into like 1/2-inch cubes, and then I'm gonna bring them over here to this pot, and then I'm gonna cover it in cold water and bring it to a boil, and then I'm just gonna let it boil for like a minute or two. This is a recipe that I got from the Kitchn website. I haven't done this recipe before, but I'm going to already be making a couple of changes to it because they use, for example, olive oil and particular types of spice blend, and I'm already kind of deviating from that. But I'm kind of just going to go, I'm kind of just gonna see where the recipe takes me. I'll take it as a jumping off point. Yeah, so I will just for my own safety, I'll go ahead and stop recording while I cut these, and then I'll be right back. All right, so I have cut up the potatoes and I've put them in this pot and then covered that with cold water, just tap water, and I'm gonna just turn it on high and add a pinch of some kosher salt, and I'm going to grab one of these here wooden spoons and just mix it up a little bit. And I'm going to leave that to come to a boil and then leave it for another minute or so. Now at this point I am also going to take these onions that I diced up and I am going to saute them in this pan. Why not this pan? Well, it's because this burner is broken on my stove. But I guess normally I wouldn't mind just putting it right on in this one. This is what I'm going to use to cook the potatoes into home fries when I'm done boiling them. So that's why I have it out. So when I'm done boiling them, I'm going to take it and strain out all the water, and then I'm going to move this onto this burner, but obviously it can't be there right now. And these other 2 burners are very small. So I've got out a small burner, and I'm just going to go ahead, a small non-stick pan, and I'm going to just put that on like 3. 3 is what we usually do around these parts when we're just gonna kind of like cook something for a little while. It's not too hot, not too not hot. That's my sourdough starter. That's what I'm gonna try to use to make biscuits in just a minute. So to start, I'm gonna just go ahead and put some oil up in there. Oh, that's probably way too much, but that's all right. I'm Italian. We like oil. So yeah, I'm gonna let that come up to temperature, and then I'm gonna throw the onions in there and saute them up nice and until they're fully cooked. The reason I guess that we're doing that is because onions and potatoes cook at different speeds and different times, and at different temperatures, kind of. So if I can cook the onions now, then they will actually be cooked, whereas if I threw them in with the potatoes when I put them in this pan, the onions might either get you know, burned, or they might not be cooked fully at all. So we are going to just do this and eliminate that headache. And I will see you when something happens. All right, so I've got the onions in there. I actually put them in a little too soon. The pan wasn't exactly hot enough, but that's okay. They can kind of just sit there. This is actually coming up to a boil a lot faster than I was expecting. That's crazy. And I'm going to start on the biscuits. So I got out my scale, I got out a bowl, and I've zeroed out the scale. Hello? No. There we go. I've zeroed out the scale. So I'm going to measure out 120 grams of flour. Okay, 120 grams. Ooh. Close enough. All right, and then we're gonna need, oh, I got flour on me. Okay, and then I'm gonna need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I can't at all find my measuring spoons, so I am going to just go ahead and use a regular spoon, which in theory should be small enough. Let's see here. I actually don't know if I even have enough baking powder. Well, that's okay because I have, hold on one second. I have another one in the cabinet. All right, that is 1 level teaspoon. And actually I have exactly enough. That's exciting. And I get to use up my baking powder can, which is like my favorite thing, is using stuff up. Get out of here. Hi, Luna. Go away, please. I was doing so well, thank you. All right. What else did I need? I needed salt. So because I'm having these at the same time as my, because I'm having the biscuits at the same time as the home fries, I'm gonna just go ahead and use the same salt. And I'm gonna use my teaspoon, please stop. I'm gonna use my teaspoon, and I'm actually just going to kind of shake it like that. Put that up in there. Go away, Luna! She only does this on camera, I swear. She's just been sitting right over there on that windowsill for like 2 hours, and then as soon as I started doing this, she came right on over. Okay, and then now what I have to do is I'm going to zero this out again. And I'm going to use 8 ounces of the butter, which should be 113 grams. And it's supposed to be cold, so that's lucky. I actually didn't plan this. I didn't make the butter to do this. It just so happens that I had it, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Now I'm going to try to hack some of it out. Now, because this is my own butter, and I'm hoping to use it up pretty quickly because I didn't preserve it or anything, I'm going to just go ahead and use the same spoon, but obviously, if you're cooking for other people, you maybe don't want to do that. I've zeroed out the scale. Oh, and the water is brought to a boil. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes. Okay, and I'm going to just go ahead and add this butter until I get to 113 grams. So I'll just go ahead and do that without recording it, but what I will say is once I get all the butter in there, I'm then going to kind of do the same thing that I would do with a pie, where I'm going to take my hands, so I'm going to wash my hands before I do that. I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to kind of just crumble the butter up into the flour, the same way that you would with like a pie crust, and it should eventually end up looking like kind of damp sand. So at that stage, that is when I'm going to add some of the sourdough starter, which is right over there. So I will meet you on the other side. All right, so I've got the dough all looking like sand and stuff, and that's kind of what we want. I've cleaned off the counter, I've washed my hands, I got my scale back out, and I have over here my sourdough starter. The onions are still kind of sweating a little bit, and they could cook for a lot longer, to be honest, so I'm just going to kind of let that ride. The recipe, the Kitchen's recipe for the the home fries calls for them to cool for a couple of minutes. So I'm actually just going to kind of pause on that and work on everything else until we're ready to jump back into it. And we'll see if that makes it bad, I guess. I shouldn't, but let's see what happens. So I got my scale. I'm going to put, oh, no, I got to turn it on first. There we go. Gotta wait. And then we put this on there. Then we zero again. Make sure that it actually is 0. Cool. All right, now I've got my starter and I have stirred it up. Now this is it's not unfed starter, it's just not ready. I don't totally know what that is. I only started this maybe like a month ago or something. So, you know, when you first start a starter, it takes a long time for it to get good and active. As you can see, I mean, it's alive. It's got bubbles and stuff in there. It's doing what it's supposed to do, but it's just not properly rising. And so you can't really make do good sourdough bakes unless it's like ready, vigorous, bubbly, and active. But there's a ton that you can do with the discard, which is like when you're supposed to kind of like throw away half of it and then feed it again an equal amount as to what you threw out. So these recipes that I got from King Arthur are basically that, is you use the discard for these recipes. So I find that very helpful because I don't like to just throw stuff away. So I have mixed this up, got it good and dispersed, I think. You could stand the spoon right up in there, I think. I want to take the spoon out. It's kind of hard to pour with. Ooh. All right, and then I think I actually don't need this anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and just pop her right into the water. And I'm going to pour out 1 cup, which is 227 grams. Just pour that right on in there. Oop, coming up on that pretty quick. 227 grams. We're getting pretty close. I'm going to try to have some flour on standby because the last time that I made these, the dough was like liquid. It was like super, super wet, and I just kind of baked it to see what would happen. And, you know, it just wasn't that good. So, I mean, it was good, I guess, but it didn't come out. The texture wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I'm going to loosely put that lid back on there. And I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to mix this up, and then if it's wet, I'm going to just just like shake some more of the flour on there until it's a dough as opposed to a batter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just put it on. I'm going to take the baking pan that we have prepared with the parchment paper. I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to just pour it right on to the parchment, and I'm going to form it into kind of like a disc. And I'm going to use this. This is a 2.5-inch cutter. I know because I actually got out a measuring tape and measured it. This, by the way, is why I'm so blasé about a lot of the stuff that I do, is because I'm actually so not blasé at all. Like, if I could take out a ruler and measure every single thing that I do, I would do it. But honestly, that perfection keeps me from getting anything done. So if I ever want to do anything, and I am Jackie Does Stuff, not Jackie Thinks About Doing Stuff, then I'm just going to have to let some of that perfection go. But this is a 2.5-inch cutter. I'm going to kind of like lay it out on here, and then I'm going to take this and just kind of cut out all of the pieces that I need, re-roll whatever is left, and then cut out some more. And at that point, I will bake them in the oven. The oven is already preheating. It's probably preheated. I started it a little bit ago. But I will, yeah, let's check in with our other ingredients. Yeah, so the onion is getting very translucent, which is great, but as you can see, it could definitely sweat a lot more, so we're good there. This pan is for the home fries. I just put it right on over the hot burner, but I turned it off because we aren't going to need it for a while, and I don't want to burn the butter. You can totally do that. You can totally burn butter. Trust me. So I've poured in some oil and some butter, and it has all already melted. But when I'm about ready to start the home fries again, I'll just, turn this back on to 3 and let it come up to a good temperature. But for right now, it is off. So I'm going to mix this bad boy up, and I'll see you on the other side of that. All right, so this is already a lot better than last time. I'm really psyched. I put like a handful more flour into the batter, and then I put some more down on the parchment, got it into the shape, and then put a little bit more flour up on top. I'm a little worried because that sounds like a lot of flour, but I guess we'll see how it goes. So I got the cutter, and I guess this isn't properly 6 inches across. I don't know. I didn't measure this one, but yeah, we're gonna just push down and twist. Goodness gracious. There we go. And we're gonna pop her right there. And oh, okay, all right. You know, I kind of thought that it was gonna come out a lot worse, but that sure does look like a biscuit, doesn't it? All right, we're going to just go ahead and get, I guess we're gonna get 3, and then we're gonna re-roll, and then we're gonna get however many more. And then I can go ahead and pop that in the oven, and we can probably get started on the rest of the hash browns. The onions are starting to get really nice and brown, so these probably can go a little bit longer, but probably not that much, so that's good. Once we pop these into the oven, we can probably redirect our focus to this. Great timing. All right, see you on the other side. All right, so I have got the biscuits into the oven. I should have probably used a smaller biscuit cutter because I ended up with fewer biscuits than I would have wanted, but that I will just have to remember for next time. And I have heated the pan. I added a little bit more butter because I love butter. And I went ahead and put the potatoes in, seasoned them with the salt, the pepper, the lemon pepper, the paprika, and everything. Gave it just like a little bit of a prod, and then left it. And then I double checked the recipe, and I should have not seasoned it with all that stuff. I should have only seasoned it with the salt and the pepper, and then cooked it for 8 to 10 minutes or whatever it is. And then when I add the onion back in, that is when I should have added the seasoning. I suppose that it's because some of it will probably burn. Well, womp. I will have to remember that for next time. But this is all one layer. You're supposed to put it in, leave it in a layer, don't stir it at all for the 8 or 10 minutes, and then when you add the onions, you can go ahead and stir it in until the whole thing is cooked all the way through. So that is what we're going to wait for now. The onions are, these I could probably call done right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm kind of just going to leave it right where it is, but I'm going to turn the burner off. So it will still cook a little bit, but that's fine with me because it's going to cook more in here anyway. And the biscuits should have like 10 more minutes left. So great. So I'll cook this until I guess there's like a minute or 2 left of that. And then I'll add that. And then while that's finishing up, then I'll take the biscuits out. So great. This all ended up working out pretty well. I will check in once things happen. We're back. So we're just about 2.5 minutes away from the biscuits being done, which means that this has probably been in there about 8 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to toss the onions around, bring them over to this side, and then I'm going to take a look. Wish me luck. Stir that around. Okay, all right. I don't know, did it crisp up? I guess it did a little bit. I could have probably gone a little bit longer. But that's, yeah, no, that's what we're looking for, kind of. All right. Goodness. Let's see. Yeah, it probably could have gone a little bit longer, but that's all right. I've already moved it, so full send, as the kids say, I think. I don't know. All right, we're going to add the onions in there. And scoop them a little bit more. And in there. All right. And toss. And then just continue cooking. And I guess at this point that I will add a little bit more seasoning, because this is when you're supposed to add it anyway. So I guess maybe if some of it did burn or get a little bit not great, then maybe adding it at this stage will freshen it up a little bit. I don't know. All right, so we got our Happy Pilgrim, rosemary and garlic salt. I'm just going to kind of get a huge handful and just... Blah, blah, blah. I love rosemary, especially I love rosemary with potatoes. Gonna add a little bit more of our lemon pepper, which is that, as we discovered, unfortunately artificial yellow color. And then a little bit more of the smoked paprika. Yeah, my partner loves putting the spices in these like glass jars that I keep finding around the house because one of my old roommates would use them for craft projects and stuff. And I am very pro that, but he definitely does not label them, which is a fun little adventure that I go on sometimes. Oh, all right, so we've tossed this around. Let's leave that for a second. That is the biscuits. All right, and let's see. Well, hold on. Let me grab my mitt. Let's see. Because the recipe technically says 20 to 23 minutes, so it may actually not be done. But one of the biscuits was smaller than the others, so that one probably is done as heck. And, actually, you know, it can go another couple of minutes. So I will just go ahead and put 3 more minutes on there. All right, and I will see you on the other side. All right, we got about 10 seconds until the biscuits should be ready. So I had a bite of one of these home fries, and they are delicious, but I think they can use a little bit more cooking, so I'm not worried about that. All right, we're gonna stop the timer, and we're gonna check the biscuits again, and that's a little bit better, yeah. All right. So I'm good with taking those out. I maybe should have put like a butter or egg wash or something on there. I don't know. Yeah. So these, I was surprised because this one is like much smaller than the others. So I thought that it would be. Oh, all right. Ooh, okay, that's hot. But yeah, if you look at the bottom, you can see that it is burned on the bottom, kind of. The last time that I did this, it was burned, like proper burned. So that is a good sign, I think. And yeah, it's only a little bit burned, so that, ow, that was hot. All right, so what I'm going to do is, and they are actually a little bit crispier than I usually like in a biscuit, but yeah, everything is data, so what can I do to fix that next time? I guess maybe I could stick with the lower cook time of 20 minutes instead of 23 minutes. I could probably do some sort of a wash, like brush it with melted butter or an egg wash or something and see if that helps it kind of keep its moisture a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and take those and put them in there so that they can stay warm for now. And then these are probably going to be done in, I mean, probably like a couple of minutes. They might even be pretty good to go now. I might even make some bacon or something to round this all out. But all I know right now is that I need some coffee. So I'm going to wrap this all up and I'm going to eat because the smell is driving me insane. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to help me fix my burner so that I can cook more things, tell your friends, tell your enemies, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.